Hi, my name is Alexa, and this is my careers and research project for my interpersonal skills in intimate relationships class at NMSU. The career that I have decided that I am going to research is going to be a caseworker. I'm going to start off here with a quote from Dr. Seuss the Lorax. The quote is, "Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not." A little about me. I'm a 30-year-old female, and this is actually my second roundabout going to school or trying to go to school, let's say. I started college as soon as I turned 18 after I finished high school, like most people do. However, I was never a person that knew what I wanted to do in my life. It didn't come naturally to me, and I first started taking some nursing classes because it's kind of what my parents wanted. However, I found out very quickly that nursing is just not for me. I then took a few other classes to try to figure out what I did want to do. However, I never really settled on anything. I took some sociology classes I liked. However, I just couldn't settle down in a career in my mind. At the time I was in school, I was actually paying for it out of pocket and working full time, schooling full time with no career in mind or an end goal. It just got really overwhelming for me, and I made the decision to leave school. I currently still work at the job that I did when I was paying for school 10 years ago, and I like my job. I do. However, there's just something missing for me. It really just isn't fulfilling in the way I need it to be. I want a career where I can change lives, where I feel fulfilled, where I feel like I have a purpose, and my job, unfortunately, does not give that to me. And now I'm at the age where I'm ready to find that career, and I know for a fact that I want to help change the lives for children. Well, what is a caseworker? Well, Merriam Webster describes a caseworker as a worker, as in social welfare agency, who investigates, diagnoses, and often assists in individual cases as of persons or families in need of financial or psychiatric aid. So, why did I choose to research caseworkers? Well, I actually have a friend who got pregnant, and her baby was due the same day as me on January 23rd. I was really excited about this. I thought we were going to have the same birthday and that we were going to be best friends, and I was going to be the cool aunt. Well, it really didn't work out that way because the baby ended up coming out about 2 months early in November. It was really scary, and the baby actually had to stay in the NICU, or the neonatal intensive care unit, for a few weeks. Her mom was with her the whole entire time, and I also came to visit the baby while she was in the NICU. And that's when I really met my first caseworker. There was caseworkers that would come to be there with the babies that were in the NICU, and you would see the caseworkers a lot of times more than you see the mothers, which is not a dig to the mothers. A lot of times having a baby prematurely is rough on the body, and maybe those mothers couldn't physically see their children. However, when I did see those caseworkers there, I could tell how much they loved those babies. They weren't acting like it was a job. They were really enjoying seeing those babies and getting really excited at their progressions. And it was amazing. And it really opened my eyes. But that didn't really seal the deal for caseworking for me until I actually had my first child in August of this last year. That's really when I realized how special and innocent children are and how they really need someone who can advocate for them, especially when they're so young. And even when they're not so young, when you see a child, you don't necessarily give them the same kind of voice that adults get. And I want to be that voice for them. And I really want to advocate for all children. So let's meet our caseworker. The caseworker that we decided to interview is Dustin Lucero. Dustin is 23 years old and is actually at their last leg of schooling at Western New Mexico University for their bachelor's degree in psychology. They have plans to then get their master's degree in social work. So, a little about how we met. Dustin and I have actually known each other for about 3 years. I met Dustin working in the same 10-year job I've been working at. Dustin applied to work there as a part-time job while they were going through college. And that is what actually inspired me to go back to school, is meeting Dustin and seeing how motivated and dedicated and determined they were to get this degree. So let's jump into the career. Dustin is a caseworker for CYFD. They have been working with CYFD for several months now. I had the chance to interview Dustin and I asked them a few questions about the career that they're in. And here is Dustin explaining a little bit about the role in their company.
My role in this company is to support families that are involved within the child welfare system, ensuring child safety, and connecting families to community service like resources.
What is CYFD, you ask? Well, CYFD stands for the Children, Youth, and Families Department. It is what is known in other states as the Child Protective Services, or CPS, only just a little bit more broad. On the About Us section on their website, CYFD describes themselves by stating, quote, CYFD believes that young people and their families are not simply clients. They are powerful catalysts for change in their own lives and as partners in changing the systems that impact their lives. This belief is operationalized through our core values about the young people we serve. You all now know why I wanted to do more research in casework and why I want to be a caseworker, but what made Dustin want to be a caseworker? Well, I was able to ask them that in the interview we had, so let's find out. And what made you want to join this position? What made you want to go to school for it, seek it out, anything like that?
Honestly, what made me want to seek it out is kind of like personal, to be honest. Like I've had some family members within the system. I have personally been within the system as well, so I kind of know the little bits of like ins and outs and stuff like that. And so like it could be a difference or like a change in the system because especially here in Mexico, I feel like this system is kind of failing kids. There's a couple stories out there that just like I hope I get to work on because these families need help and stuff like that.
We now know that Dustin's career is casework and that they work at CYFD New Mexico. But what exactly is it that they do day to day as a caseworker? Well, I actually was able to interview them, and this is what they had to say.
A typical day is just like conducting home visits, assessing child safety, sometimes meeting with the parents and the children, and then like from there just kind of documenting case notes, attending court hearings, also taking notes based on that as well. Also, I have been told so that's kind of cool. But we could have like I kind of just create service plans for these guys. If they need a doctor's appointment, they have other appointments to go to. I kind of just take them there and stuff like that.
Dustin also shared with me how their career as a caseworker helps the development of children. Here's what they had to say about it.
I kind of support the physical development of ensuring that the kids have access to the medical care, proper housing, and also have making sure they have like proper nutrition as well. That's always important. I always, not always, but I'm going to try to partner with schools and teach educational services, because I know some of these kids don't really access to that, or they just like have struggles like for asking for help and stuff like that. So I kind of want to help them with that and stuff like that. But yeah, just kind of helping them get through, trying to help them find like therapy areas, mentorship programs, even helping them build like healthier communication within their family if they struggle with that type of thing.
So far, being a caseworker sounds great because you get to help these children get the resources they need to strive, whether it's education or nutrition or something else that's going to help their development. But there's also some hard things about the career, and I was able to ask Dustin what those things were and what they do to help them get through it. Here's what they had to say.
The most challenging thing is kind of like dealing with the caseloads, and also how much like emotional stress it can be on me, to be honest. There's a lot of things going on, I can't get too much into it, but how I kind of deal with that type of thing. I'm in therapy, so I don't kind of lose my mind in this and kind of keep level-headed, I guess, because you can't get too angry. So it's just like you got to keep level-headed.
Yeah, I'm sure that does take a mental toll on someone.
Yeah, it honestly does, but honestly, have a great therapist that is gonna help and all that good stuff. So, also just taking time for yourself is the best thing, because, you're the strongest person, I guess you could say, but
This career can be challenging, as we just heard from Dustin, in more ways than one, and taking care of yourself is a must if this is the career you choose to do. In his textbook, Interpersonal Communications, Corey Floyd writes about how important your emotions are. He says, quote, denying and suppressing your emotions isn't healthy. In fact, medical research shows it can actually exacerbate a host of health problems, including asthma, heart disease, and cancer. On the other hand, overreacting to your emotions isn't good for you either. The best strategy for dealing with emotions is to find the balance between the two extremes. He also writes about the way that you can manage these emotions, and the list of them are: you have to identify your emotions first. Identifying what it is that you're feeling and know that it's there. The second thing is you must listen to your body. The way that your emotions can affect your body is actually insane. And to deny yourself the emotion and to not listen to what it's doing to you can really cause you great harm in the end. The third thing you must do is pay attention to your thoughts. The way that you're thinking is only going to push into the emotions more. If you're angry and all you're thinking about is how angry you are, you're not going to not become angry. You're just going to make you even more upset. And you just have to watch the way that you're thinking and turn that into a more positive thought. And the last thing you must do is just take stock of the situation. You have to see it from an outside perspective, and you have to just live with it, figure it out, and find your way around it. Something Floyd writes about is called reappraising negative emotions. He describes this as, quote, the process of changing how one thinks about a situation that gave rise to a negative emotion, so the effect of the emotion is diminished. Casework is a hard career, and you're going to have so many negative thoughts about a situation. You're going to be put in so many situations that are hard, and you're going to want to react so quickly with your emotions, but you can't. This is a career, and these children need you. No matter how badly you may feel for a child and how angry you might feel at the family or just the situation in general, you have to reappraise the way you're thinking of the situation. You have to think about how great you feel working on a case and to have the chance to be the child's hero instead of thinking about how horrible the case is. You are their hero. You are saving them. The situation, yes, may be awful, maybe horrible, maybe the worst thing you've ever seen. And you just want to be angry about it. However, you just have to think about the person that you are and the fact that you are the hero to this child right now. And that this child gets to develop because of you. You are saving this child, and now this child has a chance to thrive. You can't think of the negative aspects of it, but you have to think of the positive outcomes instead. And what is the salary range for a caseworker, you may be wondering after hearing those challenges? Well, the average salary range for a caseworker ranges anywhere from $30,000 a year to $60,000 a year. It's safe to say casework is not the most high paying career you will find, especially since my current job has the same pay range and you don't need a degree for it. The career definitely does not get paid as much as it should, in my opinion. However, I believe casework can be so rewarding and fulfilling in many other ways. I was able to ask Dustin what those fulfilling aspects of their career were. As we now know, it definitely isn't their salary range. Here's what they had to say about it.
Being able to connect families to like resources, you know, like if they're struggling to find like doctors or mental health doctors as well, like or even if they're struggling with drug abuse or something like that, or violence within the home, just kind of connecting them to those services to where they have safe places, or making sure that they have housing as well. It's just kind of cool that I'm able to help people like that, because I mean, I feel like everybody should have like a safe place to go, or a safe place to just talk about what they need to, you know?
Overall, we got to hear about how busy the day-to-day tasks are for a caseworker and just how challenging the career can be. On the same note, we got to see how little pay they get for how much work they really do. We got to see some fulfilling aspects and some not so fulfilling. And overall, I just wanted to ask Dustin, what kind of advice do they have for someone who's looking into this career, as we've saw so many different sides of it? Here's what they had to say.
Honestly, some advice that I could give to somebody is just like, honestly, make sure that you're passionate about helping others. Like, I mean, if you don't have the heart or the motivation to help others succeed in life, then I don't think this job is quite literally for you. Because if you don't want to see people build up or anything like that, then what the heck, you know? Also, if you can, just like try to gain experience in like internships, even go through like schooling, see like if they'll help you with that or something like that. Also, make sure you have strong boundaries with yourself, like have good self-care routines, and make sure you're ready for the mental load, you know? Yeah, definitely. It does seem like a very stressful job. I could definitely understand why someone would need some extra care there. Oh yeah, honestly, make sure you have like a good support system. Having a group of people, or even having like two people that you know and trust, like have that good support. Because if you're surrounded by positive energy, you're gonna have all that come back to you. You know? Oh yeah, definitely. Well, I think that
have a few takeaways after doing my research in careers project on casework and my interview with Dustin. And I believe the biggest takeaway I have is that I really like this career. I've spent about 10 years of my life not knowing what I wanted to do, and only recently decided that I wanted to help people and specifically with children. But even that decision didn't really narrow down the paths as I thought it would. It's still pretty broad and I still felt pretty lost. However, after doing my interview and the research, I feel like this is the career I'm going to strive forward. I know I might not end up here and it may take me down a completely different path. However, at least I feel a little bit more secure having a goal in mind. And I think that's casework. Something I found pretty interesting in what Dustin had said, especially with CYFD itself, is that it really isn't just sitting down on a computer and typing up reports and making phone calls all day, which I kind of thought it was. You actually get to help out the community. You get to meet these families, you get to help out at schools, and I just think that's super beautiful and not what I was expecting, to be honest. I overall found casework to be a really rewarding career. Although the pay is not great, I just think it's amazing to help out the children, to help out these families. As a mother myself, I know it's hard and it's scary to ask for help, but these caseworkers truly care about not only the kids, but the parents and the families. And overall, I just find this career to be very beautiful. And I hope you all did too. I just want to take the time to thank everybody for listening to my presentation and research in careers on casework. I hope you all were able to learn something new about casework as a career, as well as a little bit more about me and a little bit more about Dustin. I also want to take the time to thank Dustin for letting me interview them and for being so open over their career. Thank you so much, Dustin. And I just want to end this presentation with another quote. And this is going to be another Dr. Seuss quote as well. And that quote is, "To the world, you may be one person, but to one person, you may be the world." I think this quote ties beautifully when it comes to casework, especially in the field that Dustin works in, which is with children. I hope you all can take the time and to think that one over as well. Thank you so much again. I really do appreciate it.